Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Deputies are investigating a murder after a woman admits she may be responsible for a person's death. What we've learned in the past hour.
Plus, now is the time to get your COVID-19 booster. The important information you need to know before you visit the Wake County Health Department.
And finding some Clorox disinfectant products may be hard to do. The problem that could result in some scarce supplies. First up this noon, a Wake Forest man charged with stabbing his wife to death will be in court this afternoon. Good afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Wake County investigators charged 63-year-old Swan Tan Pham yesterday with murdering his wife, 58-year-old Hui T. Leung. He's in jail without bond, and investigators say Pham stabbed his wife on September 5th around 11:30 a.m. on Ligon Mill Road in Wake Forest. She died in the hospital. The sheriff's office says they did not charge Pham the day of the stabbing because detectives were trying to determine whether self-defense was involved. It is sunny and beautiful here in the Triangle with highs expected in the low 80s. Look at this picturesque view from Dorothea Dix Park, a live view. Our team of meteorologists, though, is keeping an eye on the tropics as an offshore system could bring us some rain.
Peter Sherwood right now in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a preview of our forecast. Peter?
Yeah, as we check out our visible satellite right now, we are seeing some sunshine in our western counties with the clouds setting up in our eastern counties. That will continue to clear out as we head throughout the afternoon. We have cloudy conditions in Wayne County as we take a live look at Goldsboro. A lot of sunshine in Sanford and Durham, and in Apex you can see some of those puffy cumulus clouds building for this hour. It's 76 degrees in Raleigh and Durham, 75 in Fayetteville, and as we head into the afternoon, our temperatures will be near normal for this time of the year, climbing to 82 degrees, and for this evening we're down to around 72 at 7 p.m. We are tracking the tropics, where we do have the potential for a coastal low to develop off the coast of Florida and the Carolinas as we head into the weekend. There is a 30% chance of development there. Our rain chances are expected to increase up to a 40% chance on Saturday, and gradual clearing will be possible as we head into Sunday. This low pressure system could develop and bring rain into the weekend. There's still a lot in question in terms of how much rainfall it will bring. Coming up, I'll show you the latest potential tracks that this storm system could take.
Starting this week, you can get the new COVID-19 vaccine through the Wake County Health Department. You can make an appointment today. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at a Wake County vaccine clinic with how to get your booster.
Wake County Public Health is offering the new booster of the Moderna vaccine at all of their clinics today, including the clinic that's here on Sunnybrook Road. Now, this comes as the CDC now recommends that new booster for everyone over the age of 6 months. The county's vaccination locations are open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Appointments are required. This vaccine rollout will be different than the others. It's the first time the vaccines won't be covered by the government, but you can get it free through some government-run programs or if you have insurance. UNC Health infectious disease expert Dr. David Wall says this booster is the best way to protect yourself against new variants.
We know that in previous years, every winter that we've had COVID, we've had surges and spikes in cases. So there's no reason to think that won't happen again.
As we're entering into the fall and winter months, it's also time for the flu and RSV vaccine. Dr. Wall says that it is safe to take all 3 shots, COVID, RSV, and flu at the same time. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
You may have problems finding some Clorox products in your local store. It's not due to a rise in COVID cases, but rather from a cyber attack. Clorox says hackers got into its IT systems last month. While the company believes it has contained this cyber attack, the manufacturing operations are not up to full speed. As a result, some of its products are in short supply. The company is unsure how long it will take to resume full production. A woman charged with an overnight murder in Sampson County is being held without bond.
Deputies arrested Samantha Haynes on 1 count of murder. WRAL's Gilbert Bays joins us live in Sampson County. Gilbert, I understand you spoke with the victim's family.
Yeah, Renee, that's right. And tragedy is not the best way to even describe this. You saw that car being towed away from the church, but that's not where this crime actually happened. We're told by family members the crime happened here inside his house. This is the 32-year-old Daniel Faircloth's home on Rosebud Road here. We're just outside of Archeryville. As I mentioned, I spoke with his father, his aunt, and about a dozen family members and friends about an hour ago at the father's home. And we have some pictures of Faircloth. According to family members, they didn't know Samantha Haynes, the woman who's charged with killing Faircloth. Family members say that he was attacked inside the home. But by the time authorities arrived here at his home, they found Faircloth outside of the home and he was dead. Apparently, he was stabbed to death. Family members say they are trying to celebrate the wonderful life Faircloth lived and not the tragic way that he died.
He just lit up a room when he walked in. He was always respectful and sweet, and he's a really good kid.
Now, Haynes, as you mentioned, made her first court appearance this morning in the Sampson County Courthouse. Right now, she's being held without bond in the Sampson County Detention Center. Ken, just a tragedy for the family. Right now, authorities still trying to figure out a motive for this. We're told that Haynes was homeless, and apparently Faircloth was providing a place for her to stay here, and this ended up in a terrible tragedy of him being killed. Family members right now, Renee, trying to plan a final goodbye and make funeral arrangements for 32-year-old Daniel Faircloth.
Oh, this is just so awful. Our hearts go out to the family. Gilbert Bays reporting live in Sampson County.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center this afternoon, we are learning that Virginia Representative Jennifer Wexton will not be running for re-election in 2024 after she learned that her health issues have worsened. Back in April, Wexton announced that she had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which said was impacting her balance, her mouth movement, and speech. She said today her diagnosis has gotten worse. It has changed to progressive supranuclear palsy, which is a rare condition that she describes as Parkinson's on steroids. She released a statement here on your screen saying that she is heartbroken, but she is choosing to spend her time with family and friends. Now, her retirement will open up a battleground seat in Northern Virginia.
5 Americans wrongfully imprisoned in Iran for years are now free. They were released this morning as part of a prisoner exchange agreement that also gives Tehran access to $6 billion in oil revenues frozen under U.S. sanctions. Josh Lederman reports some criticize the Biden administration for negotiating with the #1 sponsor of terrorists.
5 Americans detained for years in Iran are now on their way to freedom. A senior diplomat in the region briefed on the prisoner swap tells me that a plane departed Iran carrying those 5 Americans, as well as 2 of their relatives and a Qatari ambassador. They are said to be in good health, but they will have a long road to recovery ahead after years spent, for the most part, in Evin prison, a notorious detention center in the Iranian capital of Tehran. This exchange following years of painstaking negotiations between the U.S. and Iran, with Washington agreeing to release 5 Iranians who we are told were detained on nonviolent crimes, 3 of them planning to stay in the U.S. after being released, 2 of them planning to come here to Qatar. The U.S. also agreeing to unlock $6 billion in Iranian oil revenues that had been frozen due to U.S. sanctions. Josh Lederman, NBC News, Doha, Qatar.
Critics say this kind of deal will simply encourage more hostage-taking by U.S. adversaries.
Hunter Biden is suing the Internal Revenue Service. The president's son says the IRS unlawfully disclosed his tax return information and agents failed to protect his private records. The lawsuit centers around disclosures made by 2 agents and their lawyers in public statements, congressional testimony, and interviews. Biden is seeking $1,000 for each unauthorized disclosure plus attorney fees. 12:08 right now. Let's take a look at stocks for this noon and where we stand on the first day of trading for this Monday. You can see the Dow Jones Industrial Average spent some time in negative territory, but it has rebounded quite nicely throughout the mid-morning. It is up 87 right now.
Get ready for the Triangle's newest walk-through holiday lights event. The DBAP will be transforming into Woolly's Winter Wonderland. Enjoy holiday shopping, lights, igloos, and much more from November 22nd through New Year's Eve. Tickets go on sale September 20th at 10 a.m. You can visit WRAL.com and enter Wonderland in the search bar to learn more. Next at noon, still no deal. It is day 4 of the United Auto Workers strike against the nation's big 3 car makers. The main sticking points between the two sides as consequences grow.
Also, Lahaina's landmark banyan tree is sprouting leaves, the sign of survival in Maui amid terrible destruction from wildfires.
Plus, maternity wards are closing in rural hospitals around the country. At 12:30, the problem this presents for pregnant women now in maternity care deserts.
Download the new WRAL streaming apps on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and Android TV.
Live look right now, some of those big puffy clouds. A view from our tall tower camera in southeastern Wake County right now. Very comfortable temperatures. We're headed for the low to mid 80s today. Humidity is low as well. United Auto Workers strike against the nation's big 3 car makers is now in its 4th day. Both sides still failing to agree on new contracts, and the consequences are starting to grow. NBC's Jay Gray is along one of the picket lines outside a Ford assembly plant in Wayne, Michigan, with the biggest sticking points.
Hey there, and as you can see, workers continuing to show up and gather outside the gates of this Ford plant in Wayne, Michigan, like they are in Missouri and Ohio as well, striking for the first time ever against all 3 U.S. automakers, and this is day 4 of that strike. Now, the union and representatives from those car manufacturers are back at the bargaining table. Stellantis, which builds Chrysler vehicles, met with union representatives over the weekend. Today, it's GM and Ford resuming talks as well, but both sides are quick to point out that they're still a ways away from any common ground here. Here's what we do know. One of the primary sticking points continues to be salary. The union has asked for a 40% raise, with 20% of that immediately, while the automakers have only agreed to half, 20% raises with 10% right away. Now, a White House advisor and the acting labor secretary have been working by phone since this strike started to try and help things out. They are going to show up in Detroit this week, we are told, not as mediators, but to support these negotiations. Now, union negotiators met with Stellantis over the weekend. They are scheduled to meet with representatives of Ford and GM throughout the day today. That is the very latest from here in Wayne, Michigan. I'm Jay Gray. Now back to you.
Jay, thanks. This summer brought us some of the hottest months ever recorded. Now, climate activists are the ones turning up the heat. They're calling for an end to fossil fuel use and production. Ted Lidner takes a closer look at their demands and the results of a new study highlighting their concerns.
What do we want? How do we address it? When do we want it? Now!
The bustling streets of New York City got a little more crowded on Sunday, as tens of thousands of climate activists swarmed Manhattan, calling for an end to fossil fuel use and production ahead of the United Nations General Assembly meeting this week in the Big Apple. The UN gathering will also feature a Climate Ambition Summit on Wednesday, something the White House says President Joe Biden is not expected to attend.
We're targeting Biden because he needs to completely reverse course. And what he needs to do in order to earn youth votes and win the 2024 election is to end fossil fuels.
The United States continues to be approving record number of fossil fuel leases. That has got to end.
This weekend's demonstration also comes in the wake of new research, which finds Earth is becoming less livable.
We cannot eat coal. We cannot drink oil.
The study, published in the journal Science Advances, reveals the planet has crossed 6 of 9 boundaries used to measure its health. Scientists say the Earth's biodiversity, climate, land, fresh water, and amounts of nutrient pollution and man-made compounds are now at levels above what's considered safe for humans.
It's not enough to just phase out fossil fuels to deliver on the Paris Agreement. You also need to deliver on biodiversity, fresh water, and land, because they're holders of so much of the ability to buffer the greenhouse gas emissions and heat impacts.
That was Ted Lindner reporting. More and more companies are using artificial light to grow crops. Eden Green Technology, based in Texas, is one of several companies in the business of vertical farming. Fresh produce is grown in their factories year-round. Right now, the company is running 2 greenhouses and has broken ground on 2 more.
We try to use every part of nature and the environment outside that we can to our benefit, but by also giving these plants the optimal grow environment 24/7, 365 days a year.
Critics of vertical farming also say fossil fuels still play a role in powering the operations, creating artificial light to mimic the sun and creating a big expense that could ultimately jeopardize operations. But company officials say indoor farming protects the crops from the perils of climate change.
Louisiana is coping with an unprecedented wildfire season, and it could get worse. More than 550 fires swept across the state last month, scorching tens of thousands of acres, engulfing homes and forcing entire towns to evacuate. Local officials warn the season is far from over, with the extreme heat and dry conditions replacing the usually rainy season. Residents there are fearing for their lives and livelihoods.
I thought for sure, I wasn't going to have a house when we came back the next day, but I was amazed that it was still standing. It's hard to fall asleep at night knowing that we're just not going to have a fire pop up and burn us out.
In west central Louisiana, wildfires have ravaged thousands of acres of drought-stricken forests. Timber is the state's #1 agricultural commodity.
Meanwhile, a sign of hope amid the devastation of the wildfires in Hawaii. Lahaina's historic banyan tree is showing signs of survival as groups of leaves are now sprouting. Volunteers are trying to save the 150-year-old tree. They say these leaves are positive signs for a long-term recovery. The beloved banyan tree is among many major structures damaged or destroyed in the fires that ravaged Maui last month. The fires killed nearly 100 people and scorched thousands of acres. That burst of green, a burst of hope.
Everything that was burned around that, it is still mind-boggling that that tree didn't burn down.
Yeah, it's going to take years, possibly decades, to recover.
No doubt. Keeping an eye on the tropics right now. Peter Sherwood in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at the satellite out there in the ocean.
Yeah, we have 3 areas of concern, and I do want to go ahead and point out the one that is closer to us. As we zoom in a little bit closer here, you can see this yellow polygon. That is where we are likely to see a coastal low develop, and there's a 30% chance of development within the next 7 days. Regardless of development, this is still going to bring rain into our area by the time we head into the weekend. As we take a look at Futurecast, you can see this version of Futurecast have the low pressure system developing late Thursday into Friday. Those showers are going to stream in Friday. We can see some heavy rainfall Friday into Saturday with gradual clearing possible throughout Sunday. There's still a lot in question with this. One thing that we know is that confidence is increasing with our computer models bringing the rain in Friday night into Saturday night. There are still some differences with the models in terms of how strong this will get and where it will track. If this does track over the Atlantic, we could potentially see a subtropical storm form. If it moves on shore and moves over the southeast, this could potentially bring more rain into our region. So stay tuned to the forecast here in WRAL. We will bring you the latest from the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Let's go ahead and check out Hurricane Nigel that formed this morning with wind speeds at 80 miles per hour. It's moving to the northwest, and we expect it to rapidly intensify into a Category 3 hurricane. We are likely to see this as a major hurricane by Tuesday, and then it's going to take a turn towards the north and east where it will likely weaken. There are some positive signs with this storm in terms of where it will track. A lot of our computer models pushing it more to the east away from Bermuda. They're still going to get some beach erosion across the island, and the rip current threat will likely increase for the middle of the week. We have a tropical wave that could develop off the coast of Africa. There's a 70% chance of development as it moves into the Atlantic. The conditions there where we have this red polygon is where conditions are conducive for development. We could potentially see a tropical depression by the end of the week. Otherwise, we're taking a live look outside right now, looking live at Rocky Mount Mills. There's some clouds out there. The clouds are going to continue to race out because this high pressure system out west will continue to build in, and that will allow us to see a decent amount of sunshine for today. It is going to be a pleasant day with some of those medium, mid-level clouds building in, and that will continue into this evening. But overall, it's going to be nice with the humidity remaining low. You want to get outside, get the kids outside. We're heading to 82 degrees for this afternoon. Want to go for a walk later on this evening? We'll see those temperatures in the 70s as well as the 60s. So we're in the 80s all week long with low humidity. It's going to feel amazing. But come this weekend with rain chances building in, our temperatures are going to drop down to mid-70s by Saturday.
Are you safe on elevators and escalators in North Carolina? Tonight at 6, thousands of elevators in our state have expired annual inspections. WRAL investigates elevator accidents and what's being done to make sure that they're safe for all of us.
Also tonight at 5:30, if you're tired of scam calls and texts, 5 on Your Side has the popular numbers used by scammers so you can block them. Plus, still ahead this noon, some newly released Hollywood movies are already showing up on social media sites. Why some say lawyers are slow to file charges in some of those cases.
It may be harder to find a part-time job over the holidays. What a new report blames for the low hiring forecast.
Horror movies scored big at the box office this weekend, and thousands of generators are being recalled. Those are among today's business headlines with Maribel Aber.
Generac is recalling about 64,000 portable generators. The generators pose a fire and burn risk, according to the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. The CPSC says there have been at least 3 incidents resulting in severe burn. The recalled generators were mostly sold from April 2011 through June of this year. It's National Cheeseburger Day, and there are plenty of deals to score low-cost burgers. You can get a junior bacon cheeseburger from Wendy's for just a penny, but you'll need to buy another menu item. That deal is available through Friday. Over at McDonald's, the double cheeseburger is available for just 50 cents. To get that, you'll need to order through the McDonald's app, and it's just 1 double cheeseburger per customer. Horror movies ruled at the box office this weekend. The Nun 2 took in $14.7 million to take the top spot, and right behind it was A Haunting in Venice with $14.5 million in ticket sales in its debut weekend. Overall, it was the second slowest weekend of the year at theaters. Just $62 million in tickets were sold, according to Box Office Mojo. And those are your business headlines. I'm Maribel Aber at the NASDAQ Market Site.
And you might be able to see some movies on TikTok before they even hit streaming services. Full-length movies and TV shows are being shared on TikTok in short clip formats. The clips are about 3 minutes long, allowing users to watch in a continuous string. Some Hollywood lawyers say the pirating of movies and shows on TikTok is a violation of copyright laws. But some entertainment companies may be slow to react because the short clips might be helping these movies and shows gain popularity.
Retailers in the U.S. are expected to hire the lowest number of seasonal workers in 15 years. A new report by Challenger, Gray & Christmas says businesses are planning to add 410,000 seasonal jobs. So far this year, 8,000 planned holiday hires have been announced. Last year, around this time, that number was 258,000. Tight consumer spending habits and surging costs for labor are just 2 reasons for the low hiring forecast. Amazon Prime members are getting another chance to enjoy major discounts. The e-commerce company is launching a Prime Big Deal Days event on October 10th and 11th. This is Amazon's second Prime Day event of the year. Deals will appear on its site every 5 minutes during select periods across a wide range of items. And in order to get the discounts, you must have an Amazon Prime membership.
There is demand for better pay for sanitation workers in Durham. What employers plan to do today after they say the city's new offer fell short?
And a growing number of rural hospitals are closing their maternity wards. We'll look at the impacts and health concerns. First, here's a look at the winning lottery numbers.
shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Tonight, Durham sanitation workers will rally at City Hall to push for higher pay. WRAL's Monica Casey explains why workers say the offer from the city isn't enough.
City Council meets here at City Hall at 7 tonight, and the sanitation workers say they'll be rallying before that meeting at 6:30. This group of employees says they are overworked and underpaid, and this latest offer from the city doesn't fix that issue. The city manager has proposed $3,000 bonuses for city employees who make less than $57,000 annually, $2,500 bonuses to those who make between $57,000 and $90,000. And a $2,000 bonus for employees who make more than $90,000. Part-time employees would also receive a $1,500 bonus. The city says these bonuses would cost a total of $6.5 million coming from the fund balance. The sanitation workers who went on strike earlier this month were asking for $5,000 bonuses, and they're sticking to that demand. Durham is also working on a compensation study. Recommendations could be available as soon as early January. Now, these bonuses aren't officially on tonight's agenda, but we may see some discussion of them, and those workers will be here. They are on Thursday's agenda during the City Council work session. In Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
A citywide curfew for anyone under the age of 18 will be the topic of a special meeting tonight in Fayetteville. The ordinance would make it unlawful for those ages 16 and 17 to be in any public place from midnight to 5 a.m. on weekdays and 1 to 5 a.m. on weekends. The curfew would go into effect for kids 16 and under at 11 each night. Council members will talk about whether to modify the ordinance or scrap the idea altogether. That meeting is at 7 p.m.
Tonight, the Franklin County Board of Commissioners will discuss the construction of a new cell phone tower that is raising concern from neighbors. The proposed Verizon tower would be on J.A. Rogers Road in the northern part of the county. People who live nearby say they are worried the 245-foot-tall tower would block their views and could hurt their property values. The hearing is happening tonight at 7 at the Franklin County Plaza in Lewisburg. We have some sad news to report this noon. Former Enloe High School principal George Cady has died. We featured Mr. Cady last month when he took the stage during a teachers meeting. He was the principal of Enloe when the school opened in 1962. In lieu of flowers, donations can be made to the George Cady Enloe High School Alumni Scholarship Endowment. He died Friday, less than a month before his 102nd birthday.
He shared such an inspiring message to those teachers. The term maternity care desert describes communities across the country without any hospitals or facilities that provide medical care for pregnant women. Some health experts say it forces women to travel far distances to seek care, placing them and their children at greater risk of potential health problems. Marianne Rafferty reports.
While most women are advised to take it easy during the final weeks of their pregnancy, for Alicia Alderson, the countdown to her newborn's arrival has been anything but smooth.
I've just taken it for granted, really, that I'd always have my doctor and I'd be close to safe care.
Alderson is like many pregnant women across a growing number of rural communities who no longer have close access to a maternity ward. The only one within a 40-mile radius of her Oregon home recently shut down.
We don't have a birthing center here in Baker City. It closed down on August 26th. And my due date is September 28th.
It's a concerning trend gaining momentum. Between 2015 and 2019, the American Hospital Association found at least 89 childbirthing units in rural hospitals closed. Now the Associated Press reports fewer than half of rural hospitals nationwide have maternity wards. Medical experts say the reasons behind the closures vary, from declining birth rates, staffing shortages, and hospitals facing financial trouble.
So it's been really hard for me to figure out how much to take because I have no idea how long we're going to be gone.
Alderson and her family are now staying 2 hours away at her brother's house so they can be closer to a hospital.
That was Marianne Rafferty reporting. Pregnant women in rural communities have a 9% greater chance of life-threatening complications than their urban counterparts.
A Garner man will be in court this afternoon facing dozens of animal cruelty charges. The Wake County Sheriff's Office found more than 200 animals at a property on Trudy Lane in Garner. That includes sheep, cows, goats, and chickens. Some of them were dead. Most of them were starving. Several needed to be humanely euthanized. Others were taken to rehabilitation facilities. One of the property's caretakers, Ronald Kearney, will be in court today facing 90 counts of animal cruelty. And another man also faces a misdemeanor charge. Part of White Street in Wake Forest will be closed today as crews install 2 new water services. The road will be closed between East Owen Avenue and East Jones Avenue. Started at 7 this morning. It'll be until 5 this evening. Water and sewer service will not be affected. A detour will be posted for drivers. Well, so much for taking the edge off. Why new research says marijuana and tobacco can make anxiety and depression worse, not better.
Plus, yoga for everyone. What inspired a woman to make sure people with all abilities can benefit from the practice?
Marijuana and tobacco use may be linked to anxiety and depression. Researchers analyzed the data of nearly 54,000 adults in the country between 2020 and 2022. The authors of the study found those who consumed tobacco and cannabis were more likely to report having these mental health issues than those who did not consume either substance. Experts say more research is needed to find the extent of the connection between the substances and the illnesses. Being comfortable in your own skin is often easier said than done, but a new study shows a positive body image may be good for your mental health, too. Researchers in England used data from thousands of people from more than 60 countries. They found people with greater body appreciation have higher life satisfaction and mental well-being. Body appreciation was higher in people who are single and people who live in rural areas.
A South Carolina woman is making it her mission to make yoga accessible to people with mobility issues. Jane Hart created Modified Ability Yoga after bringing her severely disabled 25-year-old daughter to a day center. Hart says she modifies yoga for every ability, and she sees her students flourish. She says it gives them freedom in their mind, spirit, and body.
I want everybody to be out there doing things that other people get to do, because why not? We can. You know, you may have to do it differently, but you can do it.
Hart says she knows it's not easy for everybody to get to a class, so she also teaches yoga at people's homes.
Getting ready for a celebration of Italian culture in the Triangle. We'll talk with one of the organizers of Festa Italiana Raleigh about their mission to support local charities and celebrate their heritage.
Looking forward to that. Plus, it's not every day that you see people running towards a shark. That's exactly what a group of men did in Florida. This dramatic video of their rescue mission. We're just 5 days away from a local celebration of Italian culture and heritage. Festa Italiana Raleigh takes place Saturday from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. at its new location, Fayetteville Street in downtown Raleigh. I love that it's Monday and we're already looking forward to the weekend. Joining us to talk about this wonderful event is Billy Ward, one of the organizers of the festival. Billy, great to have you with us on the program. This is the 5th year for this event. Give us a backstory. How did this all get started?
Yeah, we're excited to be in our 5th year for this event. It actually originally started in 2018 when a group of people from the Italian community decided to host a street festival. Festivals like we're used to having in other places like New York City and Philadelphia, just fit for the Raleigh community. Over the years, we've grown to include more vendors, more participants, and we got so big, we've just started our new location in City Plaza on Fayetteville Street. So we're excited to offer even more to the community this year.
That's awesome. Thriving and growing so big, you need to have a new location for it. Yeah. So tell us about some of the charities that will benefit from Festa Italiana.
Yes, what's great about Festa Italiana is we support 2 wonderful charities. So one of them is Meg's Smiles, which is a charity that will provide special day outs and events for children and family with certain diseases and terminal illnesses. We also support Gabby's, powered by Special Abilities, which will provide employment opportunities for people with special needs.
So, Billy, we're showing folks some video from years past of the festival. What would you say is the big draw for it? I would imagine food is definitely a huge attraction.
Yes, definitely. Food always comes to mind first. I tell people they come for their food, but they're going to want to stay for everything else we have to offer. We have an entertainment stage with music performances throughout the day. We have a cooking demonstration stage where you can learn to cook different dishes. That's going to be led by members of our own community, which is really exciting. We'll have a whole children's area that will allow families to spend some time with their children doing arts and crafts, learn some soccer moves. We have a lot of great things that are going to want to participate in throughout the day.
Fun for the whole family. That's this Saturday, Festa Italiana Raleigh on Fayetteville Street. Billy Ward, thank you so much for telling us all about it, and all the best on your event.
Yes, thank you.
Grazie.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Saw them making the cannolis there. Oof, let's go. Tomorrow night, the 82nd Airborne Division's All-American Chorus will be showing off their skills to the country again on America's Got Talent.
I've got so much
Oh, the sounds. That's a clip from their first performance on AGT. Tomorrow night's show airs at 8 o'clock right here on WRAL. That sounds good. If you get outside, it feels good out there. Not just the temperature, but the humidity gone. Peter Sherwood in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at that muggy meter.
Whenever we see dew points in the upper 50s in North Carolina, we try to soak it in. And guess what? You have several days where dew points will be in the 50s. We have comfortable conditions around. Let me show you why. That front that moved through last night brought those showers early overnight, and we are seeing that clear towards the east. Those clouds are going to clear with it, and high pressure will take over, allowing drier conditions around for all of us, not only today, but that will continue throughout most of the week. So dew points will range in the 50s over the next several days, and then we head into the 60s by Friday. A tolerable air mass will develop for us as we head into the end of the week, but we'll take it. We know how it could feel when our dew points are in the 70s. We're in that tropical air mass. We'll get a nice little break from that this week. Our temperatures are going to be near normal for this time of the year as well. 82 degrees for the high temperature today, 84 into Wednesday, down to 80 degrees on Friday. It's going to feel nice out there with rain chances staying out. Morning temperatures in the 50s as well, so you're going to need the sweaters early in the morning on Tuesday with a low of 56, 57 Wednesday morning, and then 60 degrees by Thursday. We have a cool and refreshing air mass that will set up for us. But looking ahead into the end of September and the beginning of October, above normal temperatures will stream in. We could potentially see our temperatures warm up as we head into the end of the month. We're taking a live look at Raleigh this morning, looking at the legislative building where we have some puffy cumulus clouds building in. Those clouds are just residual moisture from the area of low pressure in front that's continuing to push towards the east. We will make it to 82 degrees for this afternoon, staying mostly sunny, and then getting down to 72 by 7 p.m. If you want to go for a walk later on this evening or a run, it is going to be a pleasant evening for that. As we check out our 7-day forecast here, we're going to be dry for most of this week. Friday night, our rain chances are expected to increase. We could potentially see a non-tropical low form along the coast of Florida and the Carolinas. That will bring rain chances into our region, and it could potentially show signs of subtropical development. 75 will be the high temperature, with our rain chances increasing to a 40% chance on Saturday, warming up with drier conditions moving in by the end of Sunday to a high of 78.
Peta, thank you. Pets can get into some unusual situations. After the break, a few of the unique incidents, according to one insurance company that's seen it all.
We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today. A Wake Forest man charged with stabbing his wife to death will be in court this afternoon. Wake County investigators charged Swan Tan Pham with murdering his wife, Hui T. Leung. Investigators say Pham stabbed his wife on September 5th on Ligon Mill Road in Wake Forest. She died at the hospital. We'll be in court for his appearance today. We'll bring you any updates on his case during our evening news starting at 4.
Investigators say a woman accused of murdering a man in Sampson County is in jail without bond. Samantha Haynes appeared in court for the first time this morning, charged with killing 32-year-old Daniel Faircloth. The victim's family tells WRAL Faircloth was stabbed to death inside his home just outside of Entreville. Haynes later showed up to a nearby church asking for help. Investigators are trying to figure out the motive behind this crime.
Starting this week, you can get the new COVID-19 vaccine through the Wake County Health Department. You can make an appointment today. Local pharmacies have already begun receiving the updated vaccine doses. Health experts recommend everyone aged 6 months and older should get the new shots this fall.
She may have missed the podium this weekend at the Prefontaine Classic in Eugene, Oregon, but Sha'Carri Richardson says she's fallen back in love with her sport. She even showed up sporting a different look.
I would say my coach, I told him that if I go 10-6, I wear my natural hair. So when I became the world champion, instead of championship record, I ran a 10:65. So I had to pull out the natural.
Recently crowned the 100-meter world champion, Sha'Carri Richardson came in 4th place in the Diamond League. One of her biggest rivals, Shericka Jackson, ended the season on a high note by taking 1st. Richardson says she still feels amazing, and she is looking forward to bringing her A game against those women again. Tonight, the Panthers will be looking to get their first win of the season in their home opener. They are hosting the New Orleans Saints at Bank of America Stadium for Monday Night Football. WRAL's Chris Lee and Pat Welter will be there and will have live coverage before and after the game. Kickoff will be 7:15 tonight on ESPN.
Some people at a beach in Florida stepped in to save a shark that somehow ended up on dry land. A nearly 10-foot shark came ashore at Pensacola Beach this weekend. At first, the crowd thought it was chasing bait, but when it came all the way onto the shoreline there, they quickly realized they needed to jump in and help get it back in the water. 4 men struggled to pull that heavy shark back into the sea. Their efforts paid off in the end, though, and that Mako shark was able to swim back into deeper water. It pays to have insurance for those unforeseen circumstances, even for your pets. Nationwide has released the 2023 finalists for its Hambone Award. The list focuses on unique pet insurance claims for the year. One dog finalist had a confrontation with a deer that came into the backyard. Another dog somehow ate 3 phone charger cords. Let's not forget the cat that needed some help after being closed into a folding couch.
Oh, goodness.
Ouch.
Our pet of the day comes to us from ARF. Harry here is a friendly, energetic 10 to 11-week-old kitten. He is content with any type of toy, from play fish on the floor to jumping high to catch a bird on a wand. A work-at-home situation would be ideal for him, as he occasionally tried to follow caregivers out the door so he didn't have to be alone. He is a companion just waiting to love and be loved. Call ARF Rehab at 919-894-1111.
What a cutie right there. Coming up on our news at 4, UNC spent tens of millions of dollars fighting a lawsuit about race-based admissions. Where that money went and why the school may now be facing millions in more legal fees.
When you go outside today, be sure to look up and look at the beautiful clouds. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
If you do anything, get outside. And get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app as well. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.